Whole life been right about right now.
We got Black Trucker Mafia in the building. Let's see what's happening here. Peace, love.
Peace.
We are beginning a session of Wild Truckin. It's sponsored by Truckin That AZZ. Through this abundance of zigs and zags, Milez states, experiences, Tearz, and Laughz. Hosted by me, true 5-star your life driver. As we navigate these conversation highways and byways, please tune all the way in and give our special guest, a 5-star driver, your utmost attention and respect for his precious time and energy, because this game ain't no joke. And when you got a few minutes, sometimes you just want to be to yourself. So I appreciate you taking your time to share with us today, driver. Tell me your handle. Do you have one of those, like fun CB handles that you go by?
Yeah, for years I went by the Ghost Rider, or the original Ghost Rider. And okay. I do have a CB in the truck,
you do have a CB. That was gonna be my next question.
Nobody uses CBs anymore, for real. I heard. But yeah, I got one. And back in the day when I first started driving trucks, most drivers had CBs. So yeah,
How long
I
you
used
been
to use the
driving?
handle. I've been driving for like 20 years.
Okay. That's a long time. So you said back in the day, they were definitely a big deal. I remember that. My pops had a CD. I remember that.
Yeah. And really every trucker should have one, but I guess now, we got, phones and stuff like that, so yeah, people don't use CDs no more, but it's real good, communicating accidents and stuff like that, but most people, like, even now I have the volume cut all the way down.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's mostly because you got a lot of racist truck drivers out here, and
wow,
they'll get on there and get to talking their stuff. And the thing is, you don't know where this person is at, so
that's true. That's true.
And some people get on there and argue with somebody for hours and hours riding down the road, and that was
serious?
Yeah, that was its own form of entertainment,
Wow.
Back before listening to podcasts and stuff like that, you just listen to the CB and listen to two idiots go back and forth, for 100 miles, But yeah, nobody really.
The phones can't take the place of the CB though, because the CB is how drivers literally communicate stuff like the reason for traffic holdups and warnings about weather and stuff like that. But people don't use them like they used to. I am aware of that. And I kind of find that interesting because of the purpose of it. That whole breaker 19.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of I guess a dying art, so to speak. And mostly, like I said, mostly because of ignorance. It is a great tool, especially, most flatbed drivers still have CB radios. A lot of places we go to, a lot of places we go to get loaded or unloaded, you like, talk to somebody in the shipping office or something from the radio, So you might pull up at a place and they'll say, shipping office channel 22 or something, you switch to channel 22 and talk to the shipping office. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That's just some places, not a lot of places, but.
Gotcha. So what are you rolling in? What kind of truck do you drive?
I'm in a 2016 Freightliner Cascadia.
Freightliner. Okay. Yeah, I drove one of those for a little while.
Yeah, I actually got this truck brand new when I got it. Like, the curtains was in bags and seats was in bags. The bed was in a bag. And I actually, my company had it delivered to my house.
Wow.
And it had 14 miles on it. And
Okay.
right now I got 809,776 miles on it. Yeah,
You've
all
been rolling.
online. Yeah,
You've
since
been rolling.
2000. Yeah, I got it in March of 2016.
Wow. Okay. So you've been driving for 20 years altogether. Let me ask you this about the game. How have you witnessed the culture of trucking change? Would you say trucking is a culture
Oh yeah, absolutely.
within itself?
It's its own universe, its own ecosystem out here, you know.
Yes. Yes,
And
it is.
it's definitely changed a lot from, when I first started driving. I remember, especially amongst our people, we were a little more close knit out here.
I
We
heard that.
used to socialize a little bit more, kind of look out for each other and stuff like that. And that's kind of deteriorated,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of reasons behind that, just like we got social engineering that kind of changes the dynamics of society. We got the same thing within the trucking industry, So
Yeah.
you got owner operators versus company drivers, and Volvo drivers versus Freightliner drivers versus
Wow.
Kenworth drivers. Just a bunch
Wow.
of foolishness instead of unity.
Exactly.
And because of that,
Segregation as opposed to unity within the culture.
And because of that, the powers that be, they running away with it with regulation and all kind of stuff, trying to put us all, trying to have us all working back in factories and stuff, or maybe just not working all together, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've witnessed that. I have witnessed that. That's why I like to hear drivers' take on, how they perceive that to be. And it seems something like a conspiracy, if you will.
Yeah.
Would you say?
To a certain extent. But conspiracy, you don't really know the truth. Just kind of, an assumption. What we're talking about is facts. Like,
blatant facts.
Yeah, blatant, and like I said, it's a lot of reasons behind it, and I do have my own theories about, as to why it's like that. And it goes down to a business standpoint, I'd say in the last 10 years, it's been a boom in Black owner operators, Black company owners, Black dispatchers, and not only Black people, just minorities as a whole, more Hispanics out here, especially, more, East Indian, Pakistani, Iraqi people out here working. And because now, and that's a whole nother dynamic, but speaking on behalf of my people, because that's the only folks I can speak about. Once we started, getting some chips in the game, then the game changed. The goalposts moved.
Talk about it, driver. Talk about it, driver. I witnessed that. Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is look back. Even before my career in trucking started. Back in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, a lot of them truck drivers was getting rich. A lot of these companies that's out here is based off of a guy from the 80s who was, got out here, worked for a year for somebody, bought a truck, the next year, the year after that, he had 3 trucks. 2 years later, he had 10 trucks. 3 years later, he got 40 trucks, and it's a fleet now, you know what I'm saying, in the 2000s. And at that time, historically, if we're going to keep it a buck, it was impossible to hard to impossible for Black folks to even get in the game. It was just a very few, Black men. There wasn't no Black women at all.
Right.
And it was just a few brothers out here that was able to get in the game. And, back then, I think I saw something, some years ago was talking about, the average salary for a truck driver, company driver in like 2010 10 or something. You know, it was like $47,000.
Okay.
And the average salary for a truck driver back in like 1973 was like $47,000. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and you know, of course, you know, back in 1970, yeah, you know, but like in 1973, $47,000 was
you was rich.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you was
rich,
almost rich.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You was balling, definitely. You know, so and that's why a lot of drivers back then, you know, I mean, even in the Midwest, which I had been, you know, really in the heartland in years, you know, back in the day, I used to ride through like Nebraska and Kansas, you know, a lot, you know, Iowa, out in corn country where you riding down 80 and you see corn on both sides of the road as far as you can see for like 30, 40, 50 miles.
Yeah.
Like massive, you know, corn farms, grain farms and stuff like that. A lot of them guys that's out there that's hauling that grain and stuff, they only work like 3 months out of the year. And if you ride through there regularly, you'll see some of them old Western Star W9s, like a 1983 Western Star W9, a million chicken lights all over it.
That's a whole nother ball game. Now that's a super trucker.
Yeah, you know, that truck that had 5 motors in it. Yeah. You know,
that's what my daughter calls super truckers.
Yeah, that's a super trucker. You know what I'm saying? Normally chromed out everything, you know, inside of it. Might even have wood grain in the floor or something. You know?
Come on now, they go all the way out.
Yeah. But, you know, they still holding on to that money from back then. You know, they were able to make enough money, you know, to where during their off season when they're not hauling grain and stuff like that, they can just pour. A lot of them got farms and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And they work their farms, and then when it's harvest season, they get out here, run the road for a couple months till you know, harvest over with. And, you know, they're able to survive. Yeah, they're able to survive off of their retirement money and, you know, what they stacked up and put back, you know what I'm saying? And, you know,
but
other little, you know, ventures and stuff.
You said something integral that once our people started infiltrating this industry, I shouldn't say infiltrate, influx of our people came into the industry and have been successful.
The industry, you know.
Come on now, let's talk about that.
Yeah,
and
you know,
have been successful, as in everything else that we come into, we figure it out and master it, and now it appears that it has encouraged the industry to make some changes, like the automated trucks and things of that nature. Not that that was not, you know, going to eventually happen with AI and everything. However, I think it's encouraging them to move a little faster, you know, so that so they can stop the wealth, you know, that we've been growing.
It's twofold. I mean, I don't think their primary intent is to stop Black folks from making money, but
it encourages. I think it encourages them.
Yeah, well, at the same time, they have absolutely no problem cutting Black folks' money off. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but at the same time, from a business standpoint, you know, it's like the company. There's a automation company called Waymo out in Phoenix, Arizona. And they're kind of leading the way in commercial truck automation. And last time I looked, you know, WAYMO, I believe is what it is.
I'm gonna look them up for stock purposes.
Yeah. Actually, I got some stock with a company called Nikola. Which is the next company in line after Tesla, you know, building commercial trucks. And I looked earlier, you know, wasn't doing so good today, but you know, they kind of fell off, like, you know, toward the end of last year. They had some lawsuits and stuff going on, and but you know, their stock prices came back and you know, doing pretty good. But the company Waymo, last time I looked, and if you go out, you know, interstate 10 out through Arizona and down 8 towards Yuma, you see these trucks, you know, it's mostly like Peterbilts, and they have like all kind of sensors all over the truck, you know, on the mirrors, on the top corners of the air dam, on the back, on the trailers, like on the sides, on the front, you know what I'm saying? All these different sensors. And you see the dude going down the road like this. And the truck is driving itself.
Ain't that something? I saw a model of one somewhere I saw a model of one. Quite interesting.
Yeah. And I always think to myself, the dude, and they probably paying that dude pretty good, you know what I'm saying? But he's kind of like a Judas, you know what I'm saying? Like, you teaching the truck how to, take jobs from other people in the same profession that you in, you know what I'm saying?
So he's basically, they are basically computer operators.
Yeah, well, he's sitting there monitoring the truck just in case something go wrong. He can grab the steering wheel or whatever, but the truck is driving itself. And even the new Teslas that I think Pepsi bought a bunch of them, and they've been picking them up off the side of the road here recently. Did
you hear about the one where some bird doo-doo just shorted out the whole truck and caused it to have like an accident and all this?
No, I didn't hear about that.
I thought that was interesting. I was like, wow, something as small as that can cause the truck to like run off the road. But if it hit the sensor a certain kind of way, it might make the truck think that it's something, in the way or whatever. Well, I don't know. It's too much.
I mean, with any technology, this is the first generation of these trucks. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, the first iPhone wasn't all that great. But the iPhone 14 we're doing this right here with, you know what I'm saying? We couldn't do that with the first iPhone. So over time, that's just technology. I mean, cameras are way better than cameras were, back in the day. Our laptops are way better than they were back in the day. My CD radio is way better than, and so even with these Tesla trucks, they're gonna be breaking down on them and stuff like that. But there's a research and development department at Tesla that's like monitoring all malfunctions and they figuring it out, and and that's a part of their business, and so eventually, the trucks are going to get to the point where they're more reliable, they're going to get better, they're going to have longer range and all of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of how it goes. It's like the first Tesla cars were catching on fire. Like people forgot to the point where people didn't even want to drive them. But now you don't hear about Tesla cars catching on fire like they did back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So
they have
over time, they're gonna figure it out. And then
they have advanced.
Once they do, the analytics. I mean, basically the drivers, of those trucks are gonna be teaching the trucks how to drive themselves. I mean, like everything we do now, even truck drivers, using Google Maps. And trust me, Google knows who the truck drivers are and who the car drivers are. You know what I'm saying? Car drivers don't drive from plant to plant to plant, 500, 600, 700 miles a day. They know who the truck drivers are using these apps. And they take those analytics and that data, how fast we driving, how often we slow down, where we slowing down at, how long it take us to slow down. They're recording all of these smartphones, recording all that information.
Yes, and monitoring everything.
Yeah, we're giving them the information, to change the industry. So I've been talking about, ironically, I've been talking about this for years with my group, with Black Trucker Mafia, just sharing my thoughts.
Black Trucker Mafia.
Yeah. Look us up, Black Trucker Mafia Radio, on all platforms, or just Black Trucker Mafia, But yeah, I've been talking about this for years. I could see it coming. I didn't know that it was necessarily going to be automation, but I noticed how the money was being squeezed in the industry. Because I remember when I first started driving trucks, like I thought I was making gangster money. You know what I'm saying? Like, wasn't after kill yourself to drive you. I might drive 300, 400 miles a day and still do all right. Now I gotta push 500, 600 miles a day. You know what I'm saying? And I still do okay, but it ain't what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, and with the cost of living, the inflation of the dollar and all that stuff, it's getting harder and harder.
But listen, so that leads me to one of my questions, right?
Okay.
and you've been in the game, you said 20 years.
Yeah.
You went from 300 miles a day, which I was good with that. I started off doing that. You know,
Yeah.
I was doing short haul, right? Where I was getting paid a certain amount per day, regardless of how many miles I drove. I was doing 300, 350 on a 360 on a pushing it day. When they came to me and said, okay, we need you to push to 500, I knew then, okay, you pushing me out of this truck is what you're doing. Because I refuse to put that kind of stress on my body. How has trucking affected your health? Have you seen it have negative effects on your health?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's funny you ask that question, like, and I guess it's relative to your area of expertise, but at one point, I was changing jobs some years ago. This has been, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and I was, you know, in orientation at a new job, and I was taking a physical, and you know, I felt like I was normal, you know.
Okay.
And
you were doing the DOT physical. The DOT physical.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was I was in the room with this nurse. It was an older black lady. She was real nice. And she was like, step on the scale. And I stepped on the scale and it said like 298. I was like, ma'am, your scale broke. She was like, no, I don't think. She looked at me. She looked at me up and down like, I don't know. She was like, come over here and step on the analog scale. No, I didn't think. I went over there on the analog scale. She slid one to 100, slid the other one to 200, and balanced right out in the middle. I was like, it was a shock to the system. It was a wake up call because, you know, and especially at that time, you know, I was, you know, in my off time, of course, you know, I was drinking a lot of beer. I like craft beer, so you know, I drank the good beer, you know, sit heavy on you. So I had a lick gut, you know, but like I didn't think I was 300 pounds, you know, and
wow.
Like when I saw that,
was a wake up call.
It was. I'll be honest with you. I kind of fell into like a light depression, kind of like, you know, I was like, I couldn't believe, you know, I got that big. But then I sat back and I evaluated my lifestyle. Back then, and I really don't see them as much, but, you know, the truck stops, they used to have these big cups, like 84 ounces, you know, refillable cup. It was like an insulated mug. It was like 80-some ounces. All the truck drivers used to have them, like, you know, because you could refill it for like $1.
Okay.
So you getting like almost 2 liters of soda, you know what I'm saying, in this big cup.
Lord.
And I would drink like 2 or 3 of those a day.
Of like soda?
Yeah, mostly like Pepsi and stuff like that.
Oh, I was hoping you was gonna say water.
No, I mean, I drink that much water now, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, back then, it was Pepsi, and then on top of that, you know, I used to drink coffee all day.
Ooh.
And you know,
listen, that goes along with trucking, don't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I had to regulate my coffee intake. Like, okay, if you're gonna drink something, you're gonna drink 1 cup and you're gonna drink it early.
That's it. Yeah, drink it early. And then like decaf. Now
I switched over to decaf. Yeah,
I can't drink decaf. That's like drinking non-alcoholic beer. That's like drinking dual.
Well, see, but I enjoy like the flavors and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, and even now, you know, I don't even drink coffee every day. You know, it's just on them days.
Good for you.
I drunk some this morning. You know, I had a you know, long day, short night yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, yeah, I had a cup of coffee this morning, and then like now I get the small cup. I don't get the large. You know.
Right. No,
you know,
I never got into the large.
Changes like that. I kind of went back to, you know, refined sugar, which is not good for you. You know, you know, according to Dr. Sabi, anything that's white is not good for you. You
there
know,
you go. Yeah.
I used to
get you some honey. Get you some agave.
Yeah, well, I was using agave and sugar in the raw.
Yeah.
Which I need to get some more of that, you know. But like I said, I don't drink coffee as much now. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay. But
then,
you did see that trucking took a toll on you health-wise.
Whole life been right about right now.